Alright, hitting live now. And we're live, I guess.
Stuart, do you feel the force of today's live signal as we're sending it through the internet? Do you feel it?
May the force be with you. Yes.
Oh, good. Excellent. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
What
It's pretty fun.
what a hardcore departure from yesterday.
Yeah. It's nice though. It's a nice break.
Yeah, and I said it. I stressed it this morning. I was like, we must have done this already.
Nope.
I was quite happy about that though, because I was like, that's a good.
I've already seen some confusion. 10 movies? And there's even more than what you sent me, because there's also the Caravan of Courage and the Ewok Adventure.
Are they feature-length films?
For TV ones. Yes, they are.
Okay,
both of them are.
Yeah, I'm thinking I thought they'd be like 60-minute, like I say, made for TV. I didn't know they were full feature. Okay.
Yeah, but they're not going to make the top 10 anyway. So
if they did, that's either an indictment on the other 9, or yeah. But there's definitely
12, 13.
Yeah, there's definitely a choice here. I think at 13, I did include the holiday special as a joke because I thought it'd just be funny. I don't know if you noticed, but I labeled them in sort of the time order.
I did.
So holiday specials like episode 4.2, and because yeah, I had a bit of fun there with that. But yeah, we've never done
New
it
Yorker.
before.
New York and Vegas says this is not Wars Yards, or is it? Well, no, it's Fleetyards. This is our spin-off show, Fleetyards, where we talk about all sci-fi. So, welcome to Fleetyards, everybody.
Well, I mean, the graphic says Star Wars, so.
But we're still in LCARS. We should have had like a Star Wars LCARS.
No. The LCAR says Star Wars, Stuart. Stuart, the LCAR says Star Wars.
It doesn't work on the weak-minded. It says it's very much.
The LCARs...
There it is. Oh, now it's Star Wars. That was really good. You worked it. My weak mind.
And I'm sure all of you saw it as well, because I've got power.
That was good. I like that one, by the way.
Because you didn't believe me at all, did you?
No, I didn't, because it was still the LCARS. You know I have a delay, you bastard.
I know. You were like, he's just being... I'm not going to play into this. It's a bad joke. Oh, okay.
He's just Jedi mind tricked us all, because it's still in LCARS. We just see Star Wars.
That's what I did, Stuart. If you see a Star Wars LCARS, then you know you've been mind tricked.
Yeah. Anyhow.
I'll go share.
No one knows what's happening. It's not the LCARS you're looking at. No. But if you guys want to help support Fleetyards and or Trekyards, super chat during the live. We really appreciate it. Want to hear your thoughts on our topic of discussion. How would you rank them? What do you think about our choices and our reasons, our validations for each? Let us know with a super chat. It helps support the channel. Also, you can join the channel. Hitting that little join button down there and gives you a rank and everything, and that's a monthly way to help us out. So if you can't super chat on all the lives, that's a good way to help us on a monthly basis. It's a small amount each month depending on which tier you pick, so if you can help us out that way, it's much appreciated. So please do so. Click the join button and at least look at the options. Also, head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. We have a Patreon where it's the same thing. It's a monthly kind of subscription fee, and that really helps us immensely as well. Or you can PayPal us some money during the live. There's more characters in. You can only do a certain number of characters with each super chat depending on the amount. So if you want something to say, and if you've got something to say and you want to say it, just send it to trekyards@hotmail.com. Let us know in the regular chat that you sent it, and we will check your comment or question via the email from PayPal and address that immediately as well. Also down below, there are links to our TeePublic and our Teespring store. We got some really cool Trekyards merchandise, and we'd like you guys to check that stuff out. We got some really cool stuff, and hopefully you guys will like it and pick up some stuff, because we really appreciate that as well. All ways to support the channel, but one of the most support ways is just hitting that like button. We have 24 people right now with 15 likes. Hit that like button. Let's try to get up to at least 30. I think we can get 30 pretty quickly. So yeah. Anyway, it's going to be fun talking about Star Wars today. This kind of made me think when I was trying to rank these. They're all enjoyable for their own reasons. But yeah, as far as rewatchability and or just enjoyment level, it's going to be quite an interesting list to see how his and mine match up or don't. as the case may be, and it'll be fun talking about it. So we will get started as soon as he's done sharing. As soon as he's done Sharon. Yoda and R2 are two of my favorite characters in Star Wars. Well, R2-D2 is hands down my favorite character in all of Star Wars. So, yeah. And check this out. I didn't even realize this when I put this on today, but I'll wait for Sam to get back. That's funny, Samuel. I put this shirt on this morning, not knowing what we're doing for our live. Live long and prosper.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought I had a Star Wars shirt, but it's in the wash, so I'm.
But I mean,
but Darth Vader does appear in Back to the Future.
Sort of, yes.
Sort of.
Yeah, I do have a few Star Wars shirts as well, but I didn't want to change, so
yeah.
Whatever. Here I am. It's fine.
Starting a poll now.
Ooh, he's got a poll in mind. Hit that like button, guys. 25 of you here, 19 likes. Like I said, I want to get to 30, so hit that like button if you're just joining us or if you haven't hit it yet. It all helps out in the end.
Yes. And I do have we'll wait for people to jump in, so this will be a fun topic, and obviously more people here is a good thing. So we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I'll start getting the box while you read out the poll.
The poll is, do you prefer the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, or sequel trilogy?
Yeah. Now, we talked about this a while ago, Stuart. Now, not a sponsor, although, hey, give us a call. I don't ever buy from ads, but I bought from an ad. The Not Eagle Moss has come into play.
Oh, you did buy those?
I did buy them. So this is the official Star Wars Nope, already slipped there. Star Wars collection. To wit, I saw an ad. It's another UK company made by Fan Home. Never heard of them before. They seem relatively small, and the website is pretty basic. However, they have done an R2-D2 and a DeLorean, I believe, but the R2-D2 I remember seeing of like 30 issues. So they have a track record of, okay, good. I did buy this thinking it might be a scam, because after I paid, the website kind of died on me a little bit. All the pictures went into no picture available. It was a bit confusing. I did get the first two, and I thought the initial deal was very good. They are more expensive than Eagle Moss, but they are bigger. I would call them higher quality models, and given that I have like 500 Eagle Moss, that's a good statement to say. And magazines aren't anything to write home about, but that's okay, you're not getting them for them. But I just wanted to show them off, since we're doing Star Wars. And there is a rather good selection of things you'll be able to get. In particular, I got it for the Razor Crest, because they've not really done many real miniatures. But I mean, so many of those are good designs anyway. Slave 1 as well. So the first two that came on, I also get 2 freebies, which, freebies. So it's going to be your litmus test, Stuart, of do you want to buy them yourself. So they came in a rather good box. And then rather...
By the way, this episode is not sponsored by...
No, it's just Star Wars. So, bit creaky, bit huge, bit weird. Not overly, feels... That's right. Eagle Moss was very nice packaging, so anyway. But a good size. I was very impressed by the size. I kind of thought what the size was. Very plasticky. So the first one's always one of the best ones because they want to impress people. I've got a Millennium Falcon, which is, a hand size. It's a really good size. It's weirdly heavy. A lot of metal. Like a lot of the die-cast metal. I would call the detailing rather good. I have no complaints, and because the Star, one of the Trek problems with a lot of miniatures is that we could see the seam lines because they're clean hull. This thing, because Star Wars is very seam-liney, it's pretty much seamless, except if you look in, there's like one giant seam in the. But it's fine. Apart from that, very impressive seams. I think it's almost a perfect scale because you do get things like the bottom greeblies at a good scale to enjoy, and there is detail inside points that doesn't necessarily need to be detail. So a good size and a good scale, and I would call it a good miniature. Comes with a stand. It's pretty solid on the stand, and pretty happy with the size. And I actually will get an Eagle Moss out to compare because that's a good thing. They are more expensive, so if you're looking for value, that's relative, but I think quality of model is a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
Any initial thoughts?
I didn't realize it till Dan. Oh, it looks really great. There's a lot of metal Millennium Falcons flying around.
Yeah.
I've got some.
Yeah,
My kids have some actually,
for sure. Yeah.
with various sizes. Yeah. I didn't realize it until Dan pointed it out, but my image is mirrored on the live.
Huh. Weird.
Bruh. That's
Bruh
unacceptable. I bra in you, man. Bruh.
How long's it been mirrored?
So I don't know if you can flip it on your end.
Yeah, of course.
Pardon?
How long's it been mirrored?
A long time, apparently, because it looks like it always does. That's a shame.
So like 12 years, 10 years, 8 years.
Mm.
Well, it's not one of the best models, but it's one of the earliest ones, so people have them. This is compared to the NX-01 Classics. This is models like 7 years old. Not one of their best, and way too silver. It's when I drop everything and destroy stuff. Oh. But that's it compared to an Eagle Moss NX-01. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good size.
Hmm.
And you can see just the detail level feels way more substantial because of that enhanced scaling. It's a good size.
Yeah. Yeah, you sent me the website and I looked at it. I don't think I still have it up, but I really was thinking about getting them. I want the ATST and stuff.
Well, exactly. It's not really about, we can all get Falcons any day of the week. It's about the other ships. But unlike Trek...
Can you send me the link again sometime?
Sure. But unlike Trek, Star Wars is in such a point of, we've seen the Falcon in so many modern shows, etc., that there are the movie studio models available for every ship. They've recreated them all in the last decade. So there's no wow, this Trek model is 20 years old and it's not really holding up. Well, not all of these models should be super high-end, etc. So that's the first one. The second one...
Yes, Trek or not, we know.
Yeah. The second one is far less impressive, although I had a revelation while looking at it, 'cause I never really held one of any great scale in my hands of this model. Is Lord Vader's Imperial TIE. I mean, yeah, a lot of metal. Very good sizing. I mean, that's certainly... I don't have Star Wars collectibles, so this is like my first one since like 1999. So I would say really nice craftsmanship, really good light, really good. All these grills come out really well. There's a sort of a cockpit inside, sort of. And one thing I noticed about this design for the first time is that you can see there's some holes here and a seam line, and clearly you can see it's just a TIE fighter body. They just added this back thing to, and custom these. So it's just a kit bash. I never realised because it's so unique, but it's just a TIE fighter with stuff added. And I've never seen that until I got an original. So yeah, I mean, I like them both. The next batch will have some even better models. Worth the price is relative, but we'll do more Star Wars content someday, and you'll be able to see me fly them around. So yeah, not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor us, please do. Although I don't know how quick they'll be to make new models. But yeah, if you want Star Wars models, you've got a new source on the block. I've already broken the plastic.
Star Wars, the official Starship.
Starships and Vehicles. Yeah, it's not the same name as Eagle was. Yeah, that's what it's called. From Fan Home. But they're not cheap, but I would say they're good. So there you go, guys. Bit of Star Wars love right there. When else do I get to show them off? So I feel a bit more justified in buying them now.
Fan Home?
Fan Home. But yeah, I'm very excited for the Razor Crest. That's my big one I want. But there you go, guys. That was our little tangent of Star Wars glory. Yeah.
Alright, flip my image.
Okay.
Do it.
How's everyone doing today? Everyone doing well?
I think everyone is well.
Good.
They better be doing well.
Well, you're
Are there any Falcon cutaway models? Not from these guys, not yet anyway.
Yeah, they're pretty newish, although not brand new. So yeah, sure. So we're doing the Star Wars is. How difficult a list was this to pull together?
Pretty difficult, actually. It had me thinking. But I think I came up with a good order, so we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see how this match up.
Yeah, I definitely found myself being like, how do I actually feel?
Yep.
As is often the case. But that's good. You know, we put our situations here and put our cases. And I think will it be different? I mean, there's certainly a conventional order of quality. But, you know, as we've found with our TNG reviews and other things, you know, what we each look for is a little bit different. And compared to other people, you know, we like ships and tech. So Star Trek 3 for us holds a bit higher than other movies may do because it has more of that. Whereas other people just want a lightsaber battle or a space. You know, there's no Star Wars is perfect, and so it's interesting to see what we're gonna choose. But I guess I'll go first because you went first yesterday, and I have 3 honorable mentions, and I can.
I didn't do my honorable mentions.
I mean, it's just the other ones, but that's fine. I'm not going to say them, just so we'll know where they are by the end, who got where. So, number 10 in the list of top 10 Star Wars movies is the Rise of Skywalker. The last Star Wars film gets the bottom list. Now, I will say it's distinctly better than numbers 11, 12, and 13. But it still hits my number 10 slot because it's a bit of a... It's got lots of good, quite a lot of bad. And I was trying to think of what I liked about all these films, and every other film went in happily above this. You know, it's hard to take a train wreck and as in the sequel trilogy itself, and glorify it and make it end in a good way. And they just throw so many weird things at it. I mean, it's such a fast pace to just stop you from thinking. I'm sure that JJ and Kathleen and the team were thinking, right, we need to get box office sales. Legacy doesn't matter at this point because we have to recoup, we have to whatever. Doesn't matter if fans are going to watch it the first time, think it's amazing, and then a year later think, what the hell did I just watch? The ticket sales are what's important. Because people forgave the prequels after 20 years, who cares if these are shit? We need it so fast, people just like absorb it, move. Oh, the ending's cool. And that's kind of this film. That saying, there's so many small moments of good in it, but certainly, and obviously huge spoilers, at the end, that was your moment to have Hayden back, Ewan back. You know, you've already got the Emperor back. Have everyone back as a Force Ghost, de-age because you've got movie money. Have Rey with the entire 3 films worth of people back in one final moment where they're doing a thing, even if it just had to be, you know, green screen footage from previous films, because you've got plenty of Ewan and Hayden on green screen. Those 3 films. So I get it was Steal the Thunder, but it would have been such an obvious thing to include. So there's a few things like that. And there's a scene I still remember where they're like running through the middle of the field, they run through a Star Destroyer, and they shoot every stormtrooper. It's a great sequence, but then you realise they aren't shooting back. How are they? No one's trying to stop them. And there's so many moments of that where I don't think just go. But I still enjoyed it, and more than a lot of people. But it's a bad film, really. But it's a fun film, really. So there you go. Guess my number 10. Because every other film on this list is better. Not because I don't like it as much. There you go.
Well, that leads into my number 10, which is also Rise of Skywalker.
Hey!
We already got one match, so there you go.
Good man.
Pretty much for all the same reasons you said. This was a very fan servicey on JJ's part, I think, to try to recoup some of the losses of the previous film, and I really appreciated that. When I saw this in theater, I was kind of happy. Yeah, there's some stupid shit like running on the outside of a star.
But that could be great, Stuart. That could be great. That's not a bad idea. Just the way it was done.
I know. The fleet of them, and just the stupidity of how that was all done, and now they each have a cannon that can destroy planets. I mean, that's kind of neat, but yeah. So there was a lot here to like, and the way they handled Leia's death, I think, was good, and loved seeing 3PO kind of go all Sith for a minute. and then loses memory. Although I really hate that he like that. My friends, no, these aren't really your friends. These are people you've only known for a short, very short, percentage-wise of your long life because you're quite old. Well, he's okay. So I gotta say this because R2D2 and C3PO are actually way older than everybody, and then they fucking retconned it that Anakin built C3PO, which is entirely stupid. C3PO is supposed to be like 100 and some odd years old.
Where was
So
that
was
said?
R2D2. They've been around. They've seen shit.
Where was that
It
said?
was in the old Star Wars. It was in the old Star Wars screensaver. They had a list.
Those canon screensavers.
They had a biography on it. Well, it was done by LucasArts. It was an awesome screensaver. Anyway,
Yeah.
it had the detailed history of all the families he served and how long he's been around, and then all of a sudden the fucking Anakin built him. That's just dumb. But honestly, seeing him go with the red eyes,
I actually
and
forgot
then
about that. How
I
little
thought that was kind of
the
neat.
film is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of good stuff in there. I just wish it would have been handled a little differently story-wise. But honestly, with what they had to do to kind of fix the fuck-ups from before from Rian Johnson, I think that JJ did a pretty good job in this regard. And me saying that JJ did a pretty good job is a big compliment. So,
well, it felt like a giant apology.
Yeah, and I don't hate Rey. I like Rey. I don't hate Poe. I like Poe. I don't hate Finn. I like Finn. The other lady that was kind of the Poe love interest or past, ex-flame. Should have been in it more. Maybe should have taken her helmet off because it's this famous actress. You never even see her. It could have been anybody, honestly. So there's a lot of good here. And seeing Lando Calrissian flying the Falcon again, awesome. But Textical, really? That's your name? That's the name you're going with for your planet? Textical? Sounds a little bit too much like testicle. Just saying. Yeah. There's a lot of silliness, but a lot of good. And it's enjoyable to watch. It's a good popcorn kind of action sci-fi movie, so yeah.
But it's thoroughly broken as a film, though. Just from the ground up. And it certainly,
Because it was salvaging what came before.
The idea that the First Order are so weak in the first film that they're not a threat. Now they're the galaxy strong in the second film, and now it's irrelevant because the Empire has 5,000 ships of galaxy-destroying power, and even though he's been controlling Snoke for the last 30 years, and therefore holding ships in reserve he could have brought out any minute to take over the galaxy, he's thought, nah, I'll wait. It's and obviously, the Wayfinder, if I stand on this one hill, this one place, I can find the key. Who the hell would write that? And
make a blade based on wreckage and just stupidity.
Yeah, it's a ton of extremely stupid ideas that should have meant he got fired, but filmed really well, acted quite well with great special effects, but lots of bad ideas, lots of good ideas. So I don't dislike it, but it's a totally broken movie, but also quite fun. Yeah. All right.
So we have 34 likes, which is awesome. We hit our 30th goal, so please keep hitting that like button if you haven't. I haven't got a super chat yet, so let us know what you think about us
30
doing
minutes.
Star
Wars, guys. Famous franchise.
We want to see some Star Wars love, so shoot us some super chats and let us know your takes on things. But all right, so now it's on to Samuel's number 9.
Yes, my number 9. I'm going to give it to Solo, A Star Wars Story. Now, I don't remember the film the most in the universe, but I know I liked it more as a film than Rise of Skywalker, which is why it gets this slot. Because if it was more memorable, I'd like it more, which shows how not memorable it was. So that's kind of it hasn't stuck with me like the other films have. But, neither of us were on the bandwagon of dislike that seemed to have been forged versus organic. He's not bad in the role. Lando's not bad in the role. She's not bad in the role. The story's not bad. The things that people say are bad are either okay or fine or good. The gradient of what you expect is weird there. I love the Darth Maul twist. I really like the heist vibe, both heist vibes. The villain's a bit weird, but that's okay. He's just some crime guy. It's fine. Falcon was good to see. Yes, the tropey stuff of how he got all this stuff was dumb. They shouldn't have done it. But the character stuff's fun. And, I feel like I knew Solo more after it. I would like to have seen this cast back for their second film. They had they could have done a lot with it. And I genuinely cared when the lady died in the scene where she died. I thought that was good. So it's less memorable, but it's actually it's a decent film with some things that drag it down, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, this one I enjoyed quite a bit. We'll have to see where it is on my list,
Hmm.
but it was I consider it kind of a guilty pleasure movie because yeah, there are some things stupid with it, and I didn't really need a young Han Solo story, but I think it was well done and a fun heist movie
Yeah,
and
it's a
set in
fun
a
heist movie.
universe that I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Although introducing
exactly.
Star Wars fuel was dumb, and also the robot anti-slavery robot who becomes the computer again, just dumb idea. They're just bad ideas going in. They shouldn't have done. Um, that's a problem. But whoever had the idea was the problem. In that it's not the actors or the cast or the CG, or it's just a bad idea. You know. But
All right, well, we're going to be talking about the same movies pretty much in our top 10 list, so I can't really say too much until I
yes,
get to
just differently
mine.
ordered.
So,
But are you surprised
yeah,
it's my number
exactly.
9, or do you think it'd be higher?
No, it's kind of where I thought you'd put it if it was even on your list at all,
Hmm.
honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
people really hate this movie, and I don't know why. It's
Yeah.
just,
I don't know either.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. My number 9 is Star Wars: Attack of the Clones.
Hmm.
Very actiony. I haven't seen it in a long time, so it was really hard for me to kind of place this one. I know I like it for a lot of reasons, but it's also really long and really plotting in spots, um, as are most of the prequels. Um, this is action-packed one at least, and I can appreciate that. And don't know what else really to say about it because I don't remember a lot of. Like I said,
Hmm.
it's been a long time since I've seen it, so
Hmm.
um, not quite sure
What was
everything
your
that happened.
cinema going experience with it? Do you remember?
I did see it in the theater, but I don't remember much
So you
about the
think each
experience. It
Star
was
Wars
just kind of like,
film didn't, in your memory, there weren't cultural moments for you in the same way that. Oh,
nah. I
okay.
think The Force Awakens was more impactful. Star Wars was back again, and then yeah, Phantom Menace. I remember that being on the hype up for that. You know, watching that for the first time in theater was it's kind of etched in my brain a little bit. But it was because it was like a shared like cultural thing. Like Star Wars hasn't been around for a long time; it's back now, and it's like
Yep.
ooh, remember the opening scenes very well, and then it just kind of
Okay.
deteriorated to what it was.
Because
So
I remember Phantom Menace in the cinema, but I don't remember the hype. Because I mean, we didn't have the internet really, so it was just we went to see a Star Wars film. Okay, cool. This film was the first one that I remember really getting a sense of I was 2 years older, for obvious reasons. I remember the toys were huge on this, and the fact there's a lot of video games. They really pushed this one. Phantom
yeah,
Menace was, hey, we're back,
really did.
guys. Look at Maul. Don't look at the script. Look at Maul. Look at Maul. This was, here we're going to do everything we can, and this is the start of a war. A war is a hell of a thing to do, and I never played any of the games because I didn't have the consoles. But this was super super high on the notion of mass media, and obviously links my brain a bit because they got the Clone Wars show after this. So it's a very it's a very impactful film in terms of what it sets up. I mean, the Phantom Menace is the prologue to what's set up. This is really this is the first this is the future, the future Luke's parents meeting and falling in love. This is the origin of Boba. This is Obi-Wan's a real character finally.
Mhm.
There's a lot of really important stuff in this film. It's just done with a glaze of. Hmm. Bye, Stuart. Stuart's brain. Yes, Lil King. Yes. Yes. Dan, yes.
Oh, I'm back. Good.
Welcome back. Yes, Jasper Jedi. Yes, apparently you're in Carbonite.
Yeah, this one actually, now that you've talked about it, should have been a little bit higher on my list, but and I haven't watched it for a hot minute, so
Yeah. It's a
sorry, the signal's kind of crap right now.
Yeah, you might want to restart your video. Because you ain't got a
I see
video.
you talking, but I can't hear you. I'm frozen on this.
Just gonna hang up on him, guys. Just gonna call Stu back. Gonna call Stu back. He's back on the
Yay!
call.
I'm back alive. I'm out of my carbonite freeze.
Yes, you are. So if you just had Rise of Skywalker below this, how much better than Rise of Skywalker would you say this was? Is a comparison where we're
not much, honestly. They're about the same for me, so it's kind of good that they're close together on the list.
Okay.
Like there is a lot of good in this, but there's also a lot of plottingness and just silliness as well. Dialogue in this is awful, I know that, and the whole Anakin Padme stuff is a little bit cringy at times.
But we all hate sand, so why would you?
Oh, I do, and I use that quite a bit.
Although I heard a great comment the other day, actually, like a few days ago. Actually, it's more poetic than you think, because this kid had a desert planet his entire life. He never saw an ocean, so he's not saying that as a small thing. He's saying this sand represents my turmoil, my horrible childhood, the devastation of everything I've ever known. So what he's saying is like my entire life is shit because like sand represents it. He just hasn't got the eloquence to say it in a good way. Actually, it's not about the sand; it's about his life. I quite like that and that's definitely intentional because, George is a smart guy. He just can't write very well normally.
And Little King says that would have been great if you said "I know" before you froze. Yeah, if I knew I was going to freeze, I would have said "I know." That's how we're going to end this. Samuel's going to say he loves me, and I'll be like, "I know."
Yes.
That's true.
One thing this film also did was really amped up the CGI to a huge degree. Dex as an entire CG character, Jar Jar as well. But there's so many. Like, that was a big test bed. But there's a lot of CG integration here. A lot of CG doubles the first time, like when Obi-Wan's hanging on the thing. That's what most of that CG double. They had to do hair physics. I mean, the behind the scenes docs for these films are tremendous. Mm-hmm. They're unpolished. They're real. They just want you to know the information.
Yeah.
The sequel ones are really just like.
And I will occasionally randomly at night just throw on behind the scenes of Star Wars on YouTube and just watch quite a few of them because it's some really great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to everyone look a bit daft or creative, and George is going up to a big whiteboard and saying, "Here's 9 designs, pick one." Well, I want bits from this, and this. Do it. And that's his thought process. How many things they have to design to get to the final. It's really, really interesting that the newer films just like talk about how family's important, and it's like, shut up, shut the fuck up, shut up, we don't care. Carrie Fisher's great. Shut up, talk about the designs.
Jasper Jedi, $10.
Hey, Jasper.
Love the original trilogy. Appreciate the prequel trilogy more now, especially for its world building. Sequel trilogy, so much lost potential. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the sequel trilogy dropped the ball. They should have a cohesive plan going in for all 3 movies and get the legacy characters on screen together. That's all you needed to do. 2 things.
And get George as a producer on all 3 so he could help do the story so it felt consistent.
Or just use George's storylines, because I'm sure they would have been awesome.
They were quite weird, but they would have been at least consistent.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
cool.
right, so now we're on to number 8.
Yes, my number 8 is...
What's your number 8?
The Force Awakens. So the first of the new trilogy ones. Now, this was a tricky one because I enjoy it. However, whenever I watch it, it's the fact that it's a rip-off of the previous films makes it so unoriginal. It loses whole points that because it isn't a real film. It's an amalgamation of the previous 3 films, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, and they knew that. And it's like, really? Plus, while it's genuinely fun, it's got a billion plot holes, a billion conceits. Why is Harrison Ford right next to a planet? Nonsensical stuff just happens for the sake of it. And it's a film that you remember it from the cinema thinking, damn, Finn's going to be great, Poe's going to be great, Kylo Ren's going to improve a lot, but he has potential, Rey's going to be freaking awesome, Han Solo's dead, Luke and Leia the next 2. And all potential gets burned and squandered the next 2. So this film had potential. and it still has potential watching it. But knowing the shitty payoffs, it's worse by default. Phasma means nothing. Finn doesn't do anything. Like it's worse after the second two, but that doesn't diminish the film itself because I didn't know that going in. So it gets this long on the list because of all the other problems around it. Because it can't be higher because the other films make more sense. But it is a genuinely okay film that, in terms of, it's probably the best reboot of any franchise because it's just the same film again. And Harrison Ford, genuinely very good in it.
Well,
he really did a good job.
Yeah.
And he looked better in this than he did 10 years earlier in Indiana Jones. He looked younger in this over 10 years later. The hell. Very weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember enjoying this one in theater the first time I saw it, and having that feeling that Star Wars was back after watching the prequels, because this was kind of like JJ's way of saying, here's the Star Wars feel you remember by carbon copying New Hope.
And it was a Star Wars feel. It really was.
And I didn't notice it at first, but when I walked to the theater, the more I thought about it, it's like, yeah, that's just the same movie again. But it was nice, shiny new coat of paint, new characters, got the old characters, Han Solo and Chewie back, which is amazing. And it was a fun ride. So I did enjoy this one. It's on my list. It's a little bit higher than your spot. That's spot number 8, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see where it is on my list because I don't really remember.
Because I made
the list and then just open it up.
Because I do take plot holes into account, and I know some of the plot holes are JJ mystery boxes deliberately left open for future people to tell the stories. But he's a fucking idiot. That's not how you do films. You have an idea, you give the idea to the next guy, he can choose to do it or not, but you have the real answers as well. He didn't have them.
That's JJ for you, though.
Yeah, and that's why he's a fucking idiot. He should never write anything he ever does. He's a very, very poor writer in that regard. He's a great visual storyteller. And there's little things that seem cool, but then they're stupid. Lightsaber somehow ending up with Mars's hands. How'd you get it? Take another time. Basically, I have no idea.
Would have been a great story. It was left. That mystery was left well with the Obi-Wan voice whispering to Rey.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, we're gonna get an answer to this in the next film or whatever. And it's
maybe some Luke flashbacks.
Hi, Ryan Johnson. Don't
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Johnson's a bigger asshole than JJ.
Oh god, yeah. But he's actually an arsehole, legitimately. And the other one being it seems like a fun idea, but when Han Solo fires Chewie's bowcaster, says, "This is cool." Dude, you've been with him 30 years. You fired it hundreds of times. What the fuck are you saying? What an idiot. Give him a new gun and have him do that. But that's a stupid, nonsensical moment. It's insane.
He could have looked at him and said, "Did you tweak this? This is awesome."
Yeah.
Something like that. It would have been the same reaction from the audience. Instead of, you've been with him for this long, you've never fired his bowcaster? Bullshit.
Yeah, it's insanity. It's just and there's obvious things at the end, obviously it should be Luke who's pulling the lightsaber. That's an amazing reveal. He felt Rey's sudden burst of energy. He came in, he stole the show at the end, he worked with her. We've got he meets up with Leia in the last film, in the end of the last scene. Boom. There's a way of making the ending really epic that kind of saves the film, and obviously the ending is absolute trash in terms of throwing over his. Oh well, but seeing Luke, etc. Of course, Dan says giving C3PO red arms, so J.J. Abrams owns the rights to C3PO merchandising with the red arm, so he's making a cut of every C3PO.
Well,
that's it. That's the only
reason.
He tried doing that
with Star Trek. He wanted them to stop selling all the original Trek merchandise so it wouldn't get confused with his. And they're like, "Are you kidding me?" No, this is where we make our money, man.
But how cynical is that to deliberately change an icon in such a meaningless way, just so you can get paid, so that you technically own that version? What? Yeah.
Well, it makes sense for droids to have new parts, but yeah, I totally get it.
That's the only reason.
Anyway.
Cool. All right, your number 8 is.
My number 8 is the Clone Wars.
Ooh. Better than the Clone Wars. Well, Attack of the Clones. Really? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this in a while. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I know the Clone Wars TV series. and it's fun. It's a new take. It's kind of like Prodigy. It was like a new take on Star Trek, like the animated thing, and it definitely filled in a lot. And I think it was action packed and well paced enough that it was just a fun ride. And it was cool to see like young Anakin and Obi-Wan actually doing stuff. So this was like new experience in the universe that we're very familiar with, and I really appreciate it for that. Like I said, though, it's been forever since I've seen it, so I need to go back and rewatch it. And now I'm going to be watching Star Wars over the next few weeks because of this damn top 10 list we did. But that's okay because Star Wars is kind of like Star Trek. Even when it's bad, it's okay. It's still fun to watch. And if you just take some of the movies as honestly standalone, like action set pieces, they're good. They're good, but generally like 80% of the Star Wars movies and stuff are a nice cohesive story. Then there's other moments and you can take out. So, but yeah, this one I wanted to include this one because I definitely felt like it was a game changer because it did lead into the Clone Wars and that whole filling in that era of history, which I still haven't watched all of the Clone Wars. Like I've seen episodes from pretty much every season here and there, but I've never seen the cohesive piece. I started watching it and then kind of got sidetracked, so I need to go back and finish that.
Oh, internet. But yes, guys, like, vote in the poll, and super chat. We've only one super chat so far. We need many, many more. So if you want to put in $5, $2, what is your favourite Star Wars film? We'd love to hear. These things do fund the channel, and we thought this would be a really popular one because Star Wars, but we guess not. Weird, but we love our regulars. That's why we're going to do them either way. Oh, Stuart and his internet. Grey still by him as well. But to those that are here, just a reminder that I am launching my Trek Shorts 2022 Indiegogo this week on Friday. You'll get to see the huge amount of content I've got in the buffer. A lot of great stuff coming, a lot of great stories, a lot of great visual effects, all sorts of great things. We really do need to support on that as well because we're a huge goal, because we're doing huge amounts of things. Believe me, those of you in the chat that have seen my work before, there's a lot of cool stuff I've been producing. And it'll be, sure it's unavailable. Okay, great. He says, send a photo. Oh, Jesus. Oh, wow. He blue screened. That's a thing that happened. Sorry about that. Let me just get a version of me video. Alright. Yeah, so like I say, that is launching this week. Very, very excited for you guys to see the content. You who were here previously saw my portion of the film that's being launched with the Indiegogo. It's called Battle of Velsac 2, a DS9 documentary involving Nick Cook. And that is a lot of fun CG in that one. We've got one... That was a very quick restart.
I got a solid state drive, so...
Yeah, still, that's real quick.
Yeah, I got a blue screen. I died.
Yeah, that's weird.
Let me fix a few things here. Hold on.
Yeah, so Clone Wars. I've only watched this once as a precursor to watching the actual show, and I remember thinking the CG was definitely worse than the show, because obviously it was a test bed. It was the pilot. It felt definitely on a lower par, but that's because I'd seen pictures of the series. And I remember I liked it up until the point that Jabba's the Hutt kid comes in, because then it just becomes an absolute kids movie, like really, really, really dumbed down. So those scenes are just absolutely 5-year-old level stuff, which is the thing's trying to get people. So there's the stuff with the original characters is good, but a lot of it is just like super basic, like holiday special level, like age range sort of stuff. So I wouldn't have. It's definitely a real kids movie, I think. But Ahsoka, I mean, you look at the legacy these characters have brought from this. But I would certainly say the live actions all beat it for various reasons. Well, I get why the legacy factor, but I remember thinking it was pretty okay, but nothing good. The first season's better, but of course it would be. It's the But hey, good. Hey, good for you for putting it out there.
So that was my number 8. Yeah. Hopefully my computer doesn't die again, but hey.
Don't do it me.
I better not do you.
Yes. My number 7 though is Phantom Menace.
Okay.
So yes, Phantom Menace better than Force Awakens. So my logic here was why it's better than Force Awakens, and obviously on my list because, and I actually watched it reasonably recently, is that the miniature work is absolutely fantastic. So much that they hold up stupidly well. The music is very, very good. Liam Neeson's excellent in it. In general, he just has a really good vibe. Yoda's really good in it. Like the Jedi vibe they create is good. Some of the set pieces are obviously very, very good, very ambitious, and the mix of practical and green screen environments is a good mix. The designs are mostly good. I mean, Naboo, Creed City, what's it called?
Coruscant.
No, the Naboo City. Anyway, the art design is really, really good, and considering they invented so many new worlds, so many new styles, so many ships, I mean, it's really, really creative and really interesting, and to see the contrast of the grit of the old, and this is all the fresh new, really good. The costumes are phenomenal, the lightsabers look great, the battle at the end, the music is obviously 10 out of 10 for almost all of it. Some of the humour is okay, some of it's not so good. The fact that Jar Jar, the CG character, and holds up surprisingly well is very, very clever. Watto, again, great CG creation. They did a great job there. It's a real testament to the mix of CG practical and sets, what they achieved here. It's just, it should have been... we've had this discussion before, I believe, but you cut a third out, you develop it better for the last third, and you give everyone stuff to do. There's easy fixes to this movie that would make it a good movie. It's just there's big weights that hold it down, but there's a lot of good in here. It just would need to be moved around a bit. And I don't know why they thought keeping Obi-Wan on the ship for 45 minutes was smart. I know he wasn't a super famous actor, but he is the guy, etc. But actually, you know what?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good and a lot of great ideas. It's so creative and so many things, and it's original. Force Awakens isn't original in the slightest. You go into the canteen and you're like, that's just not Mos Eisley. Everything in this film is kind of like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's it. It's a spectacle of genuinely creative new and pushing CG and pushing everything.
Yeah, I mean, for all the reasons you said, the model work and the new designs and stuff are very interesting. It was a good return to the Star Wars universe at an earlier time, and it was exciting to see at the time. I can't really stand Jake Lloyd in the role of Anakin, though. It gets a little bit irritating after a while, and the more you rewatch it, the more it just grates on me.
Thank you.
Yeah, how he was as a kid. I mean, other than that, Obi-Wan should have been in it more. Darth Maul, I was excited to see Darth Maul. I remember that. And then he gets killed in the same movie that he's introduced in. It's like you could have used him in the other movies, at least. You created this awesome bad guy, and you just throw him away, essentially, immediately.
But, unlike Phasma... his death feels like a genuine victory for Obi-Wan. He comes in, he wrecks shop. You understand how powerful he is, and you understand that Obi-Wan only killed him via luck and timing and moment. So for what it is, it's a payoff that should have been 2 films later, for obvious reasons, but it is actually a well done sequence. And Jake Lloyd's tricky because it's the character, not the actor. Fundamentally,
it's also George's direction as well.
Yeah, I mean, Hayden is a good actor, but a lot of his Obi-Wan is also just shit. But when you've seen good kid actors who fucking nail it, you're like, oh, okay, he's not a good kid actor. There are huge contrasting notes of. I mean, I don't know how old he is. He's obviously like younger than the T2 Eddie Furlong, right? He's a great kid actor. He demolished that film. He's better than many people in the film, right? So there are obviously better kid actors. Like the Stranger Things. I've now seen most Stranger Things. Those are all great kid actors. They all were good. Any of them were better in this role than he would be, than he was. But you know, you look for different things, and the whole film was a bit weird like that. But it's a film that could easily be fixed by reshoots, right? If we could go back, do some reshooting, digital de-aging, you could easily fix this film. It wouldn't be as hard as the other films to fix. Like Attack of the Clones has some weird stuff in it. You could fix it. You really could.
Yeah.
But definitely better than the Skywalker, the two of the new ones. Definitely still better.
Okay. Fair enough. This one, I just think, well, I have a new appreciation for it after the sequel trilogies.
He felt like he was trying.
Yeah, it still felt like George Lucas's world. So
yeah, and he expanded it like super this way. He didn't expand it. It just needed someone else to help write it and help direct it. You know, he needed a co-producer with as much power as he had to kind of help shape the, you know, yeah. So much potential. But yeah, still low on the list. But I will not be ashamed for a lot of it's good, a lot of it's not good. Could have been great. Right, your number 7.
My number 7 is Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Ooh, low.
This one starts off with a super awesome action set piece. The space battle. You meet General Grievous. You see Dooku get beheaded. Like, it's such a good opening to a movie. It is an action-packed movie. The fight, the lightsaber fight at the end.
I mean, you can feel the millions just being thrown at the screen, can't you? Exactly. Just millions, yeah.
Exactly, and yeah, I feel like as much as people complain about this one, like the fight with the training and 2 of the best Jedis, I think it really works out well. So yeah, this one was really fun, and it's just actions from beginning to end. Seeing Darth Vader get created at the end was so satisfying, but there are stupid things as well, like she died because she lost her will to live. Really? And the no, which I don't have as big a problem with as other people do, but no, this was a nice conclusion to this trilogy, I think. And you know, seeing how dark Anakin got with the killing of the younglings, and just that progression throughout this film in particular was, I think, very well handled. Like, this is my favorite of the prequel movies for sure. Just because it's the pace is incredible from beginning to end. There are a few moments of a little bit lackadaisical, and then, of course, as always, there's stupid stuff in each one. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
Brandon Carell, welcome to the rank of Admiral. Thank you, Admiral, sir.
Epic. For joining.
Yeah.
Thank you, kind sir. And I did love Kerbal Space Program. I spent a good old bit of time on that game, so I mad respect for that. Did you like the first game or the second game more? That's my question to you.
And the guys, super chat. We haven't had a super chat in a hot minute. So
30 minutes, Stuart. Says
I guess you guys don't.
No one likes Star Wars.
Don't want Star Wars content. We apologize.
There's a reason we stopped doing Fleetyards Star Wars, because no one watched them. So, but
exactly,
we had fun doing them. Come on, guys, it's Star Wars. Okay, that's number 7. All right. So you've already lost the. So you've lost 2 prequels, 1 sequel, and a Clone Wars. Okay. So Phantom Menace is now higher than Revenge of the Sith in your logic, apparently. It's got to be here somewhere on the 10. So I'll see where that pops in. Interesting. Okay. Interesting list. All right. My number 6, then. Is that right? Yeah, it must be. My number 6.
Yes.
My number 6 is Attack of the Clones. I'm of the opinion that they do go. he gets better as he goes. So I still say Attack of the Clones is better than Phantom Menace for several reasons. I think the core of this film is weaker than Phantom Menace, and the mix of CG, which I said a while ago was a benefit, also limits it in a way as well. Is reliance on it makes it look a certain way that the next film it blends in better, but this film it sort of sticks out more. This film has some really, really great set pieces that the first film doesn't really have in the same they work way. Geonosis is all great, pretty much. Looks great, sounds great, the scale is great, the CG is great, the clones are great, the Jedi moment is great when they have like all the Jedi for the first time. That's a really great moment. The fight at the end is pretty good. It's different, it's interesting, it works. You know, limbs getting cut off, that's what always happens. The fight with Jango is great. The space thing is iconic with the sonic death charges. That's really great. The ship design is fantastic. Obi-Wan's actually in this movie. Good, thank you. He is, and I do have sadness for Ewan now. He spent over half his filming walking around talking to balls on sticks that were Camino. And so and that scene doesn't work as well nowadays because it feels digital in a way that it didn't back at the day. It felt creative and cool and sci-fi. So that I think, and that's a large chunk of the movie. The Django stuff is great, and the rain and it's a weird mixed bag of like I get this huge importance of it, but it doesn't hold up as well. And I wish the Cypher Diaz Jedi thing felt like it paid off at all. That's an entire portion of the movie. It's like, this Jedi made us do a thing 10 years ago. Oh, it was Dooku, wasn't it? Yes. Oh, okay. Was it? I don't know. Yes. I don't know. Like, it peters out so much by the end. But, you know, a lot of fun stuff there. Then you've got, you know, Anakin's mass murder spree. There's a kids' movie, mass murdering people, our hero. Like, that's gruesome, and it really, really works, and it's really horrible, and it's you know, it's horrible, and that's the point. I wish the script was better. I wish there was some better choices, but see Anakin back to, you know, it's a good movie trapped in an okay movie. And you could easily prune away a lot of the less good, and you could easily like give Samuel Jackson more, give Django a bit more, give Ewan more stuff with other actors. Actually start with a sequence with Ewan and, you know, Obi-Wan and Anakin doing one of the missions they've talked about, because this should have been the first movie, right? This should have been episode 1. They're already friends, they're already Padawan, Master, boom, we see their adventures. Because their entire building, you know, the actors together for the first time is them in an elevator saying, "Do you remember that time on Tarkin 3? Yes, Master, I got you. No, I got you." Like, that's them telling they're actually friends now and they're equals and now they're brothers, even though they were father and son last movie for 12 seconds. Like, this should have been the first movie, and we should have seen an epic start like the next movie. So there's a lot of things, but by the same token, there's swaths of this film that are really cool. And it's not the case of the first film. And it's original, and it's creative, which beats the sequels in a lot of ways. So, yeah, mixed bag, but it's got some genuinely good sequences that are like, oh, that's cool. So, yeah, there you
go. As Matt points out, the seeing Yoda for the first time actually use a lightsaber and how Yoda would fight with a lightsaber was quite incredible to see.
It's stupid, but of course it is. He's a little 3-foot guy fighting, you know. And there's some amazing, when you watch the behind the scenes, of how much is Digi-double replacement. Like, how many Dooku scenes of him fighting. It's just easier to have a CG version of Dooku fighting a CG version of Yoda. And this is the first time ever in Star Wars history that a lightsaber lit somebody. Because Yoda's lightsaber is a CG element hitting a CG creature. First time ever. So, little note. But yeah. Guess for number 6.
Yes.
And it was your number...
My
9.
number 6 is next.
Yeah, it was your number 9. Yeah. Okay. All right, your number 6 then is...
My number 6 is Solo.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed Solo, and I mean, I recently rewatched it, and it wasn't quite as good as I remembered, but I did enjoy the heist aspect of it. It's like a heist movie in a universe we know and love, and that's great. The guy that plays Lando does a fantastic job. I really love the young Lando. Han, not so much, but I enjoy the droid as well. That becomes a part of the Millennium Falcon. I think she's kind of funny. there's lots of fun elements to this, and it's kind of a, like I said, a guilty pleasure, liking it thing. So yeah, it's a good standalone. Like I love the whole Kessel Run thing. They kind of explain that, and it's cool to see. And I love how the Falcon gets so wrecked during that. Like it's all pristine and new and nice. You see like parts flying off of it, and then it crashes into the planets for the landing.
I love the creature in the fog and such. That was really great.
Yeah. So there's a lot to love here, I think, and yeah, just seeing the relationship with Han and Lando, how that came about. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good little backstory, but it was better on the first viewing. Because I remember in theater, I rather liked it, just the heist aspect of it. Like I said, rewatching it recently, it didn't quite live up to what I remembered. And the whole, who are your people? Well, I'm by myself. Han Solo. That's just the stupidest shit ever. And the fact that the gate comes down, he's on one side, she's on the other, yet the stormtroopers aren't going to open the gate. We got to get that guy too. Like, there's a lot of silliness going on with it, but the end with Darth Maul, and you hear his robot legs when he stands up. Nice. I wanted to learn more about that. I want to see what's going on with that. But it was a nice little surprise at the end, which I also appreciated. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, and it definitely is a sort of film that would have got better from the second film, being able to take what it had and running with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mandalorian team, they're smart. They could bring in Kyra, whatever her name was, into films. She's aged 7 years since they made it. Yeah, they could bring her back in, etc. Okay, so significantly higher on your list than mine. It was my 9, your 6. Okay. My midway, number 5, though, is Rogue One. Now, this is a tricky one for me, because I still remember seeing it the first time, and what we talked about it, because this is the first one we actually reviewed. So much of it isn't memorable to me, but the bits that are memorable, I remember the film was made much better than Solo. I remember thinking that, like, the entire last third is very, very good. I know that. The entire first third, I think, is crap, give or take. Like, in comparison, it's just, there. I still remember thinking that. It might be different now if I rewatched it, but a lot of it is like skip, just whole cloth skip. A lot of that's gold. So it's a weird mix of things. I as I said at the time, the fact they swap between 12 planets in 12 minutes just feels like total trash. But once they get into the stuff on the beach, it's just pure gold. It's a film that happens to be Star Wars. I think Tarkin's fantastic, and Vader's good, and Jin's okay, and the robot's fantastic, and now I like Andor more, although it's weird to see him be, as opposed to younger, despite being older now. The Sol Guerrero, what a pointless waste of anything. Don't kill yourself. Go with them. What, you idiot. But to see, this was the first time we got a sense of only the old original designs are going to make money, so we're going to make a film that's able to use all that stuff. And now that's all they're doing, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and all the shows. Like, we need to be in this era, otherwise it's going to be bad for us. This one was kind of a test case, and some stuff that did really good, some stuff that didn't. But because his art designs are so good, seeing a whole army of stormtroopers for the first time in a movie since, the 70s, done in modern cameras with they can actually move. Because stormtroopers originally, the armor's not really built for moving. It's really fun to see. But there's several little plot holes, and the fact they reshot so much of it is weird. But it's got a lot of really good and a lot of really not good. I don't remember the not good for obvious reasons, but I remember the good for obvious reasons. So it gets a middle slot, but because the good is really like just good filmmaking, just filmmaking, it beats out the 2 prequels I've already talked about. I would like to see it again. I know I'd enjoy it more, but like I said, that first 4 minutes is such a slog to get through for me, at least the first time. Yeah.
Well, I have stuff to say about this. It's on my list somewhere. We'll see when I get there. But I really enjoyed the return to that era for sure in this, and there's a lot to like about it, in my opinion. Yes, there are a few things that are kind of dull and draggy, but overall, I think it was a good cast, and some really fun moments.
Yeah,
So,
see, it's a good cast, but not a good cast of characters because you don't care. Like that's the weird thing. They're not characters, but they're great cast. It's very strange.
yeah.
And you didn't have to kill them all either at the end. You didn't have to do that. Just saying. But I will
And
say,
the return of Peter Cushing was great, even though the CGI was.
no, it was great. It's great. It's such an achievement. It's incredible.
In spots, yes. Other moments,
Most
like
of it.
And Carrie Fisher, like Princess Leia at the end, was just like, oh my god,
That's just tricky
then.
though. That's just tricky.
That kind of, it's a weird scale.
But the fact they could do it is the impressive bit, and the fact it looks as good as it does. Like, it's so impressive a concept. But this film is easily the best of the modern films, hence on this list. But I can't vote it higher than Revenge of the Sith for me because it's not that creative. Because it's not. They go to a place, a person, they steal a thing, they fight a thing. Like it is what it is, and what it is good. But you know, there's it's missing that heart and soul of the Star Wars but it's not trying to do that. It's trying to do this very specific, minute thing really well, and that's fine. But it can't beat Revenge of the Sith for me because that's like so much Star Wars.
I wanted to see the parts that were in the trailer, like her walking down the thing and the TIE fighter come up. I was like, oh, that's gonna be a great moment. Cut out. Her in the tunnel where the tunnel like turn on. Not in the film. Like,
the trailer baked moments.
Most of the trailer, almost all the trailer was scenes that were cut out. So I want to see the original vision of it. I want to see the original vision.
Well, it's like the original Saul Guerrero's bald, and then they gave him a full beard and hair, or vice versa. Like he looks entirely different, which means they had to get the actor to do all these scenes, wrap him, bring him back in, pay him a second whole paycheck, entirely different makeup, same costume. It's really funny. But I will say, you know, the yes, of course, the end is superb with the lightsaber corridor. Mostly because it's just vicious, but also it does sort of hurt New Hope because he goes from that to like he killed, you know what I mean? He killed everybody effortlessly to that. That doesn't help the situation.
Well, I think they missed a bit of a trick at the end of Rogue One as well, when the Tantive 4 is like dropping and taking off. Would have been cool because Vader walks in. Would have been cool if he reached out and kind of grabbed the ship. And it kind of hesitated just a bit and then went to hyperspace. I think that would have been a good moment to cap it off. But then a few minutes later, A New Hope starts, which is great. So I like the way it ended. But I think they missed a little bit of a thing that they could have done there. So.
Especially now with Obi-Wan Kenobi, when we see Vader grab a thing and like, he can do it. And he's strong.
And he does it in he does it to the ship in Obi-Wan series.
What I just said.
I know. I'm just saying. I was saying that before Obi-Wan came out because that would be an awesome way just to reach out with and just grab the Tantive just for a second.
But the issue is he doesn't know there's... Well, no, I'm wrong. It's the wrong around. Because in episode 4, he's like, this ship might or might not be a traitor ship. But you saw a person hand them a thing. You were there. You physically were there. You know it's a traitor ship. So it kind of... It's great, but also kind of hurts the start of New Hope because he literally knows, just killed half the people, etc. Well, as Matt said, the fact they use old footage of the original actors to play Rogue Squadron again. I mean, I think the space work. I think the space battle is the best space battle we've seen for the last 20 years of Star Wars.
It's GoPros attached to X-wings, which is awesome.
But just the lighting, it looks like miniatures, but sleek. And all the other films, they have a bonus weirdness to them. Like, that is the creme de la creme, I think, of their Star Wars stuff.
And we get the original Blue Squadron footage. The original pilots in Blue Squadron, which they couldn't end up using Blue Squadron because it was messing with the blue screen. So they just cut Blue Squadron completely out of it. But it makes sense because in Rogue One, they all get destroyed. All of Blue Squadron gets destroyed in this battle. So I love that tie-in. But Night Sabbath throws in €2 and says, R2 grows each watch. R1 grows each watch. Edward's sense of scale alone. Rogue One grows in each watch. Edward's sense of scale alone. Yeah, I watched Rogue One like a year ago again, and I have it in 3D, which is amazing, by the way. And I mean, there are some sloggy spots as far as pacing goes, but you know, it's all right. I really enjoy Rogue One. So we'll see where it is on my list.
Yeah, I mean,
It hasn't shown up yet.
thing is, if you just cut a third out of the film, it might be like a 9.5 out of 10. You know, it's just that's a lot to cut. You know, but it's good. Number 5 is still a good slot.
Well, my number 5 slot, speaking of, is Star Wars: A Force Awakens.
Okay. So,
as I said, I really enjoy this film.
So it was my 8,
just for the intro.
And it's your 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So for the introduction of like being able to use the Force to hold a blaster bolt, I thought that was so cool. And just the return to form, the feel of now we're back in Star Wars. I think JJ did a good job with that, although it's a little too cut and paste of A New Hope. But I was let down with not enough Phasma, because leading into it, it's like Phasma's like the new Boba Fett or whatever. She's gonna be really awesome. No, not at all. But overall, when I left the theater, I had such a good feeling when I had seen that. I'm like, all right, cool. JJ actually did something really good, because I leading into that film, I was like, JJ's gonna do good with Star Wars. He's been a Star Wars fan his entire life. He was never a Star Trek fan. So he's gonna. I was defending him. I'm like, he's gonna do a good job with this, and I thought he did. And the more, like I said, when I walked away from the theater, the more I thought about it, the more I thought that's just a goddamn New Hope. And on subsequent rewatchings, yeah, it is. But it's so well shot. I think it's well filmed. And I do like the characters. I do like Rey. And the scene Han Solo return is great. Poe's awesome, I think, in it, and there's some funny moments between Poe and Finn. I don't know. I enjoy A Force Awakens. It is the best of the sequel films, obviously, and yeah, it's middle of the road for me on the list, but it's fun to watch. It's a fun watch. It's a fun go, sit, enjoy a sci-fi movie, eat some popcorn, and just have fun. So if you don't think too much about it, like the Phasma thing and all those little things, it's still a fun ride. So
yeah, it's far stronger than Rise of Skywalker in terms of plot stuff, but it's still filled with plot holes and problems that it's the writer's fault for including. Like, they should have seen that in early drafts. Like, they hired the wrong people to write it, but the right people who made it. Like, it's all about the writing. With a different script and a different story, this exact team of cast, characters, crew, actors, sets, locations, art design, great. It's the story and the script that let it down. Everything else is well placed. Yeah. And it looks $1 million or $1 billion, and it made $1 billion. So it looks fantastic. And there's things like, her sleeping in AT-AT. Great idea, great visual. Her climb through a Star Destroyer, great visual, great idea. But things like, Luke, is he a myth? Everybody on this planet knows Luke Skywalker. Like, he only went like 10 years ago. No one has a memory that short. Are the Jedi really? Yes, everyone knows they're a Jedi. What are you on about? A guy in a black suit killed people for 20 years. But no, idiotic. This isn't generational. It's like 10 years. Idiots. Not more than 10 years, but it's just a stupid sort. Look at like Temple a few years ago. He was doing Jedi shit. It's not that far out.
Worst thing for me was the whole big planet weapon. I forget what it's called now.
Starkiller Base.
Starkiller Base. Taking out those planets, and people are watching, and there's like beam, it's just killing planet, and it was just so, it didn't make any sense. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of problems with Starkiller Base.
Explicitly, they're not in the same solar system, even though you can see them, and the beam is now shooting across the galaxy of hyperspace, but it wasn't. I know it's there for visual sake, but you're idiots. You can't do something like this Star Wars universe and say, this entire sequence is entirely a visual metaphor. No. It's not, though. Idiots.
And Dan, that argument doesn't hold up, I'm afraid.
No. Only 30 years ago, they were everywhere. On every planet. Like, all of your parents remember the Jedi. Anybody's father or mother knew the Jedi. So they would tell their kids, the Empire killed the Jedi. They know, even if they thought Jedi was scum because the Emperor said they were scum. All of our fathers, all of our grandfathers, they knew Jedi for their entire lives. You don't have memory that goes away in that few years. Even on a planet like Jakku. It's silly. It could have been a lot cleverer. It's just a dumb movie, you know? But JJ is dumb. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so on to number 4.
Okay.
Your number 4.
What did I say? My number 4 is... Ooh. I said Return of the Jedi is my number 4. Our first original series film. This film is tricky, Stuart, for me personally. Because some of it is great. Some of it is not great. You can tell bits are not great.
No. I
mean,
like all of Return of the Jedi.
It's a film that
I was at an age where it was like I was totally into Star Wars toys and shit, so I loved Return of the Jedi when it first came out. I don't see the problem that people complain about it. So what were the weak points?
So it starts off really well. All the Jabba stuff is great. Top bar, right? And they've got this great plan. Great. And then the whole movie stalls, and they walk around a forest for an hour, give or take, or 45 minutes, cutting between the really interesting stuff of Luke and Vader, and it's super focused, super dark, super deep, great. And then some other stuff, which is just like you can sense the quality difference of like gold and bronze, and that the contrast is hard. Not just that, but Solo gets nothing to do. He said that Harrison Ford's like, I'm not even in this movie. In effect, they fully give Luke the character stuff, and Leia and Han get almost nothing for that entire chunk. And it could have been really great. It could have been really strong. If they were Wookiees, it would have been really great. You know, Chewie's family, whatever. The original idea would have been much, much better. But it's just that stuff's absolutely okay, but it's not good. Now, some stuff's fun, but fun is this is the third act of this epic 3-parter, and it's so out of left. It's so tonally just mismatched. If there were Wookiees, that would have been probably the only fix you'd have to make, because he would have given some stakes. Han would have had a connection. Maybe Chewie's mum dies and Han helps, helps her survive until the end. Like, that would have been great to give him some chunk there. Maybe some political stuff with Leia. She gets to do something political. But for the most part, they're kind of abandoned as characters at a certain point. And it just feels really weird, because the second one's so character-based. It's so strong, and they just sort of throw that all away a bit. But Luke is fantastic. Vader's fantastic. The space battle alone at the end is such an amazing leg up from the second and first one, which are both great. But the fact they achieved what they achieved in that third one, the shots look incredible. I mean, my God, they're good. They look good today. You can't, they hold up so 6 years of tech, and they just, wow. But it's a huge chunk of the film is like, okay. Especially when the first third is a setup. Like, yeah, it's a weird structural film, and just compared to the other two, it's just significantly less good. Not bad, but just less good.
I'd say it's the less good of all of them, but it's still a really good film. It's a good end of the trilogy, in my opinion. And with all due respect, screw Harrison Ford. He wanted his character to die, so I would have given him just as much as they gave him in Return of the Jedi as a fuck you. Like, you gotta respect.
That's why you won't be a director.
Well, anyway, I have no respect for people that don't respect the roles and the franchises that get them where they are. But anyway, no, I really enjoyed it. I was at that age where, as a kid, I thought it was fine. I had a teddy bear that my mom knitted a little Wicket thing for after that, because I really love the Ewoks. I thought they were cool. But it depends on your age when you watch it, I think. And when it first came out, like the end of this epic trilogy, and yeah, the beginning is way better, I think, and the final battle is awesome. Sure, the Ewok scenes, I can kind of get why people don't like them. I still really enjoy it. I still
they don't
enjoy
just they're just okay around lots of good. Like it's just a contrast.
Well, they're good around a lot of excellent.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. I guess we'll just cut the Ewok. And it's annoying because the stuff where you get the entire Imperial forces like fighting looks so impressive to see like 80 people in full costume. But if they were Wookiees, and everyone's firing blasters and there's like all these, like, it could have been way cooler with the original idea. Well, the Ewoks are fine. Just or just like cut their chunk down by like a third. Like make the Ewoks like 15 minutes rather than 40 minutes. Because Wicked's great, you know. The original song's great,
Yeah.
you know. The ending's great in The Village. It's just, you know, the amount of, like I said, good to excellent is weird.
On to my number 4, which is also Return of the Jedi.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I don't know why people shit on it so much.
But we both agree it's the weakest of the 3.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
it is. But I mean, it's got 2 other really great contenders there.
Mhm,
So yes,
mhm.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of stupidity in it with the whole second Death Star, and
But the design's fantastic, though.
yeah,
It looks
but
incredible.
that would have been under construction for years. Like they
Yep.
would have known about that, like in the New Hope.
Yeah, they didn't
stuff
start
like that
it
just doesn't
at the
make a lot of
destruction of the
sense.
first one. That was already being constructed. It must have been.
Yeah. So there are silly things, and yeah, the shield generator being on the planet,
I'm okay with that.
it kind of makes sense, but anyway,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I really like I like the original trilogy. So
For me, it's like Star Trek 6. Some of it's excellent. I can just skip Repenthe. It's fine, but it's not what the movie deserves. You know, you notice the difference of quality. It's very similar. But I mean, what they achieve in the first bit is so cool. I mean, it sets a pace. The fact that Luke's in full black. What a bold move by them to make our hero. Like, wait, what? Although I really wish they'd put back in his lightsaber building sequence. That's so sweet. Like seeing him assemble it is a really nice moment. And just the art design of all the aliens in Jabba's palace, fantastic. And yeah, and the way they go through the Death Star 2 is fantastic as well. Yeah. Well, I never got why no one tried to stop Luke when he was pulling someone for the Death Star. This is public enemy number 1. You should shoot him. Doesn't matter if Death Star's blowing up. You shoot him.
He's dragging Darth Vader around.
Yeah, you shoot him. Like, yes, you might get blown up, but you just managed to save the Empire. Because a lot of people believe in the Empire. Like, this isn't, you know... It's a well-believed-in philosophy, you know... what do you guys think?
One of the things that always bothers me is when a hero escapes in an enemy vehicle and there's a battle going on and none of the heroes actually shoot at the enemy vehicle that the person is in.
Yeah.
Like, you know, things like that, sure.
Yeah, and it would have been nice if Leia had been a bit of Jedi at the end. In any way. She senses, but beyond that. It would have been a great thing for her to kind of build up into that. Give her like a third act.
Now, do you prefer the Sebastian Shaw ending or the Hayden Christensen ending?
Oh, I mean, both work for different reasons.
But Sebastian Shaw, I think they should have left him in as because they all each Force Ghost looks like they did when they died. So,
Well, okay, so there's 2 ways.
or the last point of them being a Jedi, I guess. But I guess that ties into the prequels. But
The problem is, for the rest of time, no one's going to remember the guy in their suit for 2 minutes. Right? That's not what everyone thinks of Darth Vader. So having him at the end devalues Darth Vader's story of going past Darth Vader back into Anakin. Because that's not what you think of as Anakin. So it works better then, because that was the only Vader we saw. However, why would Darth Vader want to look like how he did when he massacred people on a daily basis? He would, of course, want to look like his last good self, which was Hayden Christensen. That's, of course, how he would vibe, especially as the last time he was a Jedi was, like you say, that guy. So, character-wise, of course you'd want to be your young self rather than a old-looking, you know, dying man who kills people on a daily basis. So as the franchise grew, it makes more sense for him to Hayden now. And you'd like to think that he would then talk to Luke on a regular basis and say, hey, this is how I was when I was actually good. Let's chat, let's hang out, you know. So, you know, it works in both ways.
What's your number 3?
My number 3, though, there's so few left, so it's hard to work out what isn't number 3, is Revenge of the Sith, which for me does beat out Return of the Jedi because of a couple of small reasons. One, the space battle at the start is phenomenal. Like you said, it's all one shot. The CGI ambition is obviously much higher in this film. It's the first battle and the last battle are both superb, which also Return of the Jedi also has similar amazing battles. But I really, it actually feels like the epic culmination from start to end of all 6 films. Return of the Jedi sort of does, but also feels like why Han and Leia are even in the film. This kind of feels like everyone has a purpose, everyone does something, to the point of now we're going to jump the shark and kill Mace, and then kill Kai and Coyote, and like because we've got to get to where we were last time. It kind of almost rushes to the point. Love the art designs, love the Ewan's great in it, Hayden's good in many scenes. The Emperor guy, whatever his name is, really, really good in the film. The fact they did a whole lava battle in CG and it looks really great. Visually, it's incredible, and I actually prefer it to most of the fight in Obi-Wan because it's got a scale you can't achieve with the LED wall. And it's just super impressive. Like, they're fighting on nothing, but it blends in beautifully well. So just for its pure scope and ambition and many cool things, it beats Return for me. Not for writing, obviously, but a lot of Return isn't well written either. It's just sort of, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, that's not about the writing, that film, necessarily, as much as like the second one is. But these two are close. They're both, close enough for me.
Yeah, it's the best of the prequel trilogy, I think, for sure. So, okay. Kind of said what I had to say about that one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
General Grievous throws in $5.
There you
Would
are,
you want
Grievous.
to try to take on the guy who went in with Vader and the Emperor and came out dragging one of the 2 most frightening beings, Sam? Well, we wouldn't know what happened necessarily. We'd just see this dude dragging Darth Vader along the floor of a shuttle bay.
I mean, you say that, but he can't see me. He's not sensing me. Pew, he's dead. Absolutely. I don't think,
I saved Vader. Yeah. I might be a hero unless I die on this Death Star.
But also, you did cool stuff. So yeah, my number 3, your number 7. So significantly lower in your regard. Okay, your number 3 then, Stuart, is
Rogue One.
Ooh.
Like I said, I love the return to this era, the look and grunge and the feel of Star Wars again. And I liked a lot of the characters. K2SO was amazing. I didn't really appreciate Cassian Andor until the series now.
He was a murderer.
Looking back,
he was a dickhead murderer.
I know. I want to go back and rewatch the movie.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate him a lot more now. Krennic, amazing. Also, I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me, guy. Loved him. And his friend with the gun. But Sal Carrera, like, just go with them, dude. What the hell, man?
Well, that entire segment's like, why are you wasting our time on the screen? Yeah.
I just want to see the original vision for this movie. Is what I want to see. Because I know what we got. I want to see what we could have had. So hopefully they'll do some kind of director's cut or deleted. Nice.
Lucas doesn't want to say they made mistakes, so they'll never do that. Or that this Lucasfilm. Yeah. The other ones are fine with that.
Brandon Carell throws in $10.
Thank you, Brandon.
Here, guys, take my beer money.
Better
spend it on you guys. Better to spend it on you guys anyway. I think Empire Strikes Back would be my number 1 spot just because of the Battle of Hoth. Well, we're getting into our number 2 and number 1. We'll see.
I think, although we know our number 1s are going to be, Stuart, it's going to be Last Jedi for both of us, I assume.
Oh, could be. Yeah, it hasn't been on the list yet.
Yeah.
Or the holiday special.
I mean, they both break new ground in unique ways.
Yeah. But no, the Hammerhead ship pushing the Star Destroyer into the other Star Destroyer, the whole planetary shield, like I said, the GoPros on X-Wings, fantastic way to do a battle. There's a lot to love in this. And yeah, I mean, Jyn Erso, a lot of moments with her were kind of meh. She kind of fell kind of flat for me. But everyone else around her, like her dad and like I said, Krennic, those are all very well done. The X-Wings going through the canyon at night in the rain, some really great stuff in this, and I really had a fun time with this movie. It was a real, like, true return to form, I think, and so yeah, that's why it's my number 3. So, Mark Lawrence, $10. Got to be honest, I enjoy the holiday special more than the sequel trilogy. Coked out people, odd choices, but no one was trying to kill off the past to make a name for themselves. Oof, nice. And General Grievous, $5
Daniel Grievous.
on the Hayden edit for the Return of the Jedi. Shaw was 75 years old. Anakin was in his mid-40s. He looked so bad because of injuries and dark side corruption, not his age.
Oh yeah, he got real screwed. Yeah, which works. I mean, he had, you know, I actually don't mind they CGI'd out his eyebrows in the remaster because yeah, that's a cool feature.
You should CGI in my eyebrows.
I
do have eyebrows. You just can't see them because they're so fair.
Yeah. I always forget that. But 91 votes, guys. Stuart, read out the final results of the poll, and I'll do a quick bonus poll right at the end.
Do you prefer the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, or sequel trilogy? Well, the original trilogy wins out with 86%, prequel trilogy 12%, and the sequel trilogy is 2%. Like one person voted for that just to be contrarian. And yeah, that's fine. It's a typical, exactly what I expected from that poll. So I expected the prequel to be a little bit higher, honestly, but
I was kind of expecting like a 92% or 95%, like our first 100. Just because overall, I mean, the prequel trilogy is not better than the sequel trilogy. Like, who could say that in general? I guess 12%. But guys, we are only 20 away from finishing yesterday's.
Poll and I'll do that.
Okay.
Know your role, do your poll. That rhymed. That was awesome. We are only a quarter of a way to our minimum, so if you guys can super chat in, we'd really appreciate it. Some 10s, some 20s would really help us out. I'd like to at least half of our minimum with this last half hour that we have here. So please do so. Hit that like button as well. We're at 58 likes, so I want to get up to, let's try 70. If you're just joining us, you know, hit that like button. It helps out immensely, more than you know. So please do so. And yeah, super chat. We want to hear your thoughts on this, and we need the support, so help us out. So the new poll is, which is the best if you had to pick one, Empire Strikes Back or A New Hope? Go vote. Go vote. All right, so we're going into our number 2, our silver.
Yes.
Our silver ranking.
Yes. And I think it's fair to say that, like I said, Last Jedi will be our number 1. So my number 2 that just is beaten by Last Jedi. And I will say, I'm gonna... Well, that's wrong. Somehow Holiday Special got there. That's not them. Why is that there? Oh, because I'm on your list. Right, okay, that's why. My number 2 is... I'm going to say Empire Strikes Back as my number 2. For several reasons. When I had this realization, I think, a couple of years ago from Trekyards, but these two films are very tricky to compare. Empire Strikes Back and New Hope. Empire Strikes Back has more better things in it, but it also has a segment of okay/good. New Hope is a uniformly quality film, which is a more cohesive vision in terms of what it's doing. I think if I had to pick one, the top quality of a Hoth battle is great, but then the stuff at Scarcity is good/okay. You sort of you don't remember this film for that stuff, except the visuals, but not what actually happens there. As in the initial bit, the battle's different, but I mean just the initial bit. But New Hope, it's all very well structured, all very well paced. The whole thing is one big film without any real drawbacks. It's just one big film. So while it's a better written film than the second one, the first one I think keeps up a better average without any dips in the same way. The second one has a bit of a dip. And the fact there's a tonal shift. There's so many little tonal moves. You know, it goes so dark, him in the cave, and then he kills it. But then there's oddities of pacing that the first one just like, it's just such a sweet ride from start to finish. You know, farm boy from nowhere comes and saves the galaxy. You won't see the entire journey. Second one is like epic. It's okay. You know, I've had to pick between them, and I think I'll say New Hope is a slightly better film. There you go.
Okay, we should just lead into my number 2, and we'll talk about
what's your number 2, Josh?
My number 2 is Episode 4, New Hope.
Oh my god. And my number 1 is Episode 4, New Hope. What's your episode what? What's your number one, Stuart?
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Why that way around then? I gave my logic. What your stuff?
I love all the tech and mech in Empire Strikes Back. The ATSTs, the AT-ATs. I love the shift in tone, like the funny moments to the depressing dark moments. Introduction of new characters like Lando Calrissian. Cloud City was great to see. Yoda, get to meet Yoda for the first time.
Oh yeah, I forgot Yoda.
Yeah, there's a lot of awesome stuff in Empire Strikes Back. I prefer Empire Strikes Back just for the storytelling of it. It feels like such a more realistic piece. Star Wars A New Hope is an amazing movie, don't get me wrong. But it's got more of that mythos to it, that storybook fantasy kind of feel. Like the wizard, the knight, the rogue, the young person that wants to be a knight. It's got a different vibe to it, structure-wise, and I appreciate that. But I also appreciate Empire Strikes Back for the way that one was written and the pacing of it. I think the ups and downs in it, it's a real emotional roller coaster, if you will. And the way it ends is on such a dark note that it's like, oh my God, how are they going to finish this? And they did with Return of the Jedi. So, but I don't know. I love them both. And so this was very hard to select one as a number one because they're so cohesive as a piece together, honestly. I don't know. I just love all the new tech and stuff we see in Empire Strikes Back because I love that kind of thing. And it introduced so many new elements to this Star Wars world. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. And it's good to see Luke progress.
Oh, yeah.
From farm boy to what he becomes and then obviously what he becomes to in Force Awakens. And
it's funny you say you love all the new tech, but I mean Star Wars, the first one, has all of the new tech. It has way more new tech than Empire has. X-wings, A-wings, B-wings, the Millennium Falcon, Star Destroyer, Death Star, TIE Fighter, it's funny you call out for new tech when the first one has more new tech because everything's new.
But it's not. It's a well-lived-in world, so they're just things. But we get to see like
the
ground assault vehicles are awesome.
But
ground assault vehicles are awesome.
Because that's funny because they don't feel new, but it's obviously all new tech. Like the AT-ATs feel like a new they feel like a new thing for the universe, but everything's new in the first film. And same thing like I said with Star Trek 6. Like I like the Yoda stuff on Hoth, but it's such a slowdown from the first bit. It goes epic movie.
Yoda wasn't on Hoth. He would freeze.
No, after the Hoth stuff. Like, Hoth is such an epic thing, and then the whole movie just takes a real slow down to two very different, interesting plots. And then ramps up again, but it's such a... Like, I'm not interested as much as waiting around and watching Yoda talk to Luke as much time in the other stuff. But New Hope, it's all pretty much the same level of interest and quality. It flows way better. Because this film felt like it knew it was a middle story. And it has a middle of the middle story, right? It has a middle of a middle inside of a two-part. The first one's just a film. The third one's an epic conclusion. So it's tricky.
Yeah. Matt Boardman throws in $20.
Boom.
As a kid, Empire Strikes Back felt like a film that I just had to get through because I enjoyed A New Hope and Return of the Jedi more for the battles over the Death Star. As an adult, Empire Strikes Back has become such a great film to me, and I appreciate it more and more. Yeah. And these were movies that I wouldn't watch standalone either. When I was in the basement on a weekend or whatever and had all 3 VHSs, I would put them in back to back. So it was all technically they're all one movie to me. The original trilogy. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough to really rank them, but we had to. So
yes.
Here we are.
This was the Trekyards law. Yeah, it's yeah. It's weird. They're both very, very different movies. They are both doing entirely different things. They're both trying to do entirely different things. You know? But like I say, I was averaging out quality content time. Same thing with Rogue One. So much of it is like, that that's a big diminishing mark. And it's like we talk about plot holes. We haven't talked about plot holes since the sequels. These films aren't really filled with plot holes in the same way. They're real stories told by real filmmakers doing real things. And it is, I was about to say, it's amazing how much the second film, The Empire Strikes Back, ups the scale. But New Hope, I mean, they have all of Yavin base. It feels huge. They have the Death Star, feels huge. I mean, they have no small scale. The entire ship, interior and exterior, feels real. Empire has obviously extends on that, but it's there was a documentary I saw a few weeks ago which showed a few clips of the Hoth base, and it's like it's all real. It's a huge set. It was in Pinewood, I believe, in the UK. It was in the UK, but it was Pinewood, and it's like it's a giant. Wow, they built that. But in those days, obviously, the budget was spent very differently. You weren't spending on, normally you weren't spending on huge special effects. They obviously do now. But it's like, wow, these amazing sets. They just won't really find anymore. Just really up to the scale and scope. And it's one of the few films I would say that the ice planetness of it works. Like, I buy Hoth. I buy the tunnels of ice. Like, I actually buy that. Most films I kind of think, that's fine. But yeah, that one, that I buy.
Yeah, it's a hard choice. I don't disagree with you for your opinions at all. Like, I understand them, but if I had to pick one to watch, I would pick Empire. So,
well, that's the thing. I probably would too.
Essentially.
But I would probably fast forward certain minutes of it to get to the better minutes.
Oh, I never fast forward in films. That's just rude.
Well, or at least I would go on my phone. There's like a good 10 minutes I would be less engaged with, but there are minutes I would be so glued. First one, it's all good. It's slow at the start, but it's all good.
Yeah. Way to go, guys.
What do you guys think? We did ask in the poll, though, and obviously the Empire's going to win. Like, obviously it's going to win, but I gave my opinion, because you didn't say what's a better film, you said what's a favourite film, so if you had to pick. And $19 more, guys, and we'll hit half our minimum, which would be nice. We're right on that precipice. And if you are interested in getting some miniatures, they now sell them. I'm interested to see when the hell I get them next, because the website isn't very good. Let's see if it tells me when the next one's going to come, because I think the next batch is pretty good. You can build your own kit from Knight Rider. But I don't really believe the build it every month, just like the Enterprise D. If the thing goes out of business, then you're screwed. What's the point in having a 75% piece? Where's the fun in that? It's like with your 360. It's like, imagine if that was, wow, you didn't spend 500 over 1 month. You can spend it over 2 years. It's like, no, just give me the box. Let me build it in peace. I want to have it and I want to build it. Yeah.
All right, guys, $20 more would be a good way to close out, and 2 more likes. Let's try to get to 65 likes. Would be awesome. We got one new member during this one, so thank you, Brandon Carell, for joining at the rank of Admiral. We appreciate that immensely.
Amazing.
But let us know what your number one would be out of all of the Star Wars movies.
Yes. I'll just pop away just for a second, but I'll be listening. Just 1 second.
All right. So, as you guys know, like I said, we do need to hit at least half of our minimum if possible. So, another $20 would be amazing. 2 10s, 4 5s, 120. If you guys can help out with that, we'd appreciate that. And hopefully you enjoyed this look at Star Wars. It was kind of nice to step away from Star Trek for a few minutes and look at something different. And Star Wars is very near and dear to our hearts as well. But honestly, the content on the Fleetyards, didn't warrant continuing doing them, which is a shame because we really enjoyed it. We had so many more Fleetyards lined up for other vehicles and stuff, but got to do what makes the money. So General Grievous says, I like A New Hope because it started everything. I like the mythos of it and the lore it introduced us to, and Jedi and the Force. We got to see my nemesis Obi-Wan Kenobi undefeated. Pain in the butt. Trolled me by shooting me in the chest. Trolled Vader by ghosting him, literally. disappearing before Vader could kill him. You got a real hate on for Mr. Kenobi. I feel bad, General Grievous, but I don't because, he just beat you guys. Just face it. Just admit it. Admit your defeat. But I think the poll is doing well. We have 26 votes. If you haven't voted in the poll, go please vote. We have 39 people here, so I'd like to see a few more votes on that one. But yeah, if you had to pick just one between Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope, what would it be? Let us know. And yeah, tomorrow is a new Lower Decks, so that'll be fun. Join me tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my first reaction to the next episode. Can't believe it's Wednesday already. Doesn't feel like that for various reasons this week, so. But yeah. I don't know where Samuel went. So I'm just going to sit here. Brandon says, Cap, what is your opinion on the original movies or the remastered versions? The special editions. I like a lot of the changes they did to the special editions. I don't like them all. Some of them are just stupid. So I'd cut a few out, but overall, I think the special editions are a big improvement. It's more of what Lucas had envisioned, just couldn't do. So I have no real problem with them. I don't really care either way. I don't need a despecialized edition, but that's how I grew up watching them, is the original version. But I appreciate the changes, so I know in my mind what the original versions are like. And so when you see something new and something that's so old that you've watched so many times, I really don't have an issue with it. It doesn't change things enough for me to really be a pain. So one of the things I do hate about the special edition of Star Wars in particular is there's a scene where they get to Mos Eisley, and there's a yellow droid that rolls by. I love astromech droids, so I love that scene. But now they got this huge lumbering beast that just covered. You don't even see the droid. Just see like a screen full of like reptile skin for a minute. It's like, why? That's the dumbest goddamn choice I've ever seen. So that's the one scene that I absolutely despise from the special editions. But honestly, the special editions don't bother me too much. Matt Boardman, wish we didn't have the McClunky edition that they have on Disney Plus. McClunky. Again, I'm not super upset about that. And Han definitely shot first. That's another thing that bothers me immensely. So, yeah.
I'm back, baby.
Definitely. He definitely shot first.
Yes.
And there's no problem with that. It doesn't make him a killer. It doesn't make him cold.
Well, it does make him a
makes
killer.
Him smart.
But they all are. They're bounty hunter, mercenary people.
His job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you not think every time he shoots a TIE fighter, he's killed that TIE fighter pilot? I mean, Luke does
no,
it.
Hasn't.
He goes, I mean, Luke kills somebody, 5 minutes after he leaves Tatooine. I mean, that's his first kill, and no one cares. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. And it's worth mentioning, if you guys remember, I did film a Star Wars film earlier this year. Hasn't got a title yet, but I did film one. I believe
that's all this was. That's why the only reason you picked this topic was so you could pitch the Star Wars film.
Wow. Tish. But we did film one. It's almost entirely filmed. There's a few little bits and bobs and little reshoots. We forgot to do some running into scene and running out of scene by one of our actors. So it's like in the edit, they just sort of appear in the battle. It's like, oh, hello. So that's fine. And I still need to write number 2 because I split it up, because it turns out you can't tell a satisfying setup, payoff, and conclusion in 9 minutes. No wonder. So it's a setup film and a payoff film. And we currently have my 3D interior guy building the Ebon Hawk right now from Star Wars KOTOR. I'm very excited about. I did manage to get, I think I showed you already, I did manage to get the interior loaded in. That was a multi-week struggle. Boy, that was a struggle. But I did do it, and I could do previs with it, which is very exciting. And I don't know how I'm going to form that film. I need to launch Indiegogo first, which is launched on Friday. That's my big project as you can imagine. But once that's launched, there's obviously a lot less I can do. And that's not crowdfunded that film. It's just me doing the films I want to, all lost leader in terms of money spent, etc. But I'll be the only director in the world that's made a Star Trek, Star Wars, and a Stargate fan film. That's cool to say. And look rather good. I'm quite happy with it. I don't know how it's going to go. I've got some meaningfully ambitious things for part 2 to do, but we've already built several other sets already, because I gave the guy, I had to prove that we could do each set first, because I had to light the actor based on the set. I was trying to be very careful with the shots, so I managed to find low versions of everything, and so I was able to hand the artist, build this set but 3 times as good, and so he did. So I have 2 sets already built, which is exciting. I've done that for most of the sets. Eben's a bit different because it's more to build, but no, I'm excited to see what you guys think. It's gonna be weird in a good way, trying to do different things with it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
General Grievous, $2. Leia can confirm Han shot first. Wait, what?
Oh, poor Leia.
Yeah.
For the princess.
Always take care of your lady. Ladies first, guys.
Especially when they're a princess of Alderaan. I mean, she lost her planet. The least you can do is have her lose the race.
Funny.
Thank you. But yeah. Guess that's our closing thought, guys. So yeah, join Stuart tomorrow for his classic Star Trek Lodex. I'm excited. I do not know what to think from the teaser pictures. Again, I think I've got lots of expectations. It's probably a bad thing, unfortunately, for this sort of episode. Like, I'm expecting it to be bloody gold. But, we'll see.
Might be.
And I don't think this weekend, because I've got the Indiegogo, but you guys should expect interviews from the Prodigy's lead writer to come out just before the Prodigy. So expect those right before and then concurrently for the first 3 episodes. And those will be really, really fun to watch. So tune in for those when I come a little bit less dreadlocked with a specific project I've got to do right now. So, but yeah, interesting, Stuart. Interesting. And so I gave you 13. Then where would Holiday Special and Last Jedi be? Would Last Jedi be 11th favorite, 12th, or 13th? Would you say?
13th. My number 11 would have been Phantom Menace.
Wow.
My number 12 would have been the holiday special. And my last one would have been, Last Jedi.
Wow.
Because Ryan Johnson can suck a bag of dicks.
Yes. Well, he had an entire trilogy cancelled, so that's quite a...
Good. I mean, that's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine the payday of doing a Star Wars trilogy? You could have earned like 500 million over the course of years, and it's like, nope, massively dropped. Yeah, for me,
if you're a dickhead, you deserve it.
Yep. Yeah, and for me it was I had to put it above Holiday Special because that's nice CG. Because like 3 people worked on CG for Holiday Special and like the entire company for the other one, so I had to give it number 12. But certainly it's the worst Star Wars since the Holiday Special in 1980, whatever. Horrible movie. But I asked.
Sean.
No, I didn't. Okay, Stuart, you go.
Sean T throws in $5 recap. Missed the start. Okay. Give you a rundown.
Okay.
Recap of
Stuart,
mine.
what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Rise of Skywalker. My number 9 is Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Yeah.
Yes.
My number 8 is the Clone Wars movie.
Okay.
My number 7 is Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. My number 6 is Episode 3.1, Solo, Star Wars story. Episode 5. Number 5 is Episode 7. Jesus Christ. This is difficult. What the hell is not Episode 7? That is The Force Awakens. My number 4 is Return of the Jedi. My number 3 is Rogue One. My number 2 is Star Wars: A New Hope. And my number 1 is Empire Strikes Back.
Those are all true. My number 10 is Rise of Skywalker. My number 9 is Solo. My number 8 is The Force Awakens. My number 7 is The Phantom Menace. My number 6, Attack of the Clones. Number 5 is Rogue One. Number 4 is Return of the Jedi. Number 3 is Revenge of the Sith. Number 2 is Empire Strikes Back. And number 1 is the original Star Wars. There you go. And I asked you all Empire New Hope. And 73% say Empire. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yes, much clunky, we know.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you so much for watching, guys. May the Force be with you all.
See you
See you tomorrow.